What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty. Let me go ahead and turn this game down. I forgot I'm in this menu, so you guys are probably hearing all that. But now it should be empty. So, what's good, everyone? Appreciate you guys coming through as always. The RFL Weekly Podcast on Wednesdays is here, and I'm glad, as always, to have you guys here along with my guy Bill. And we'll, of course, be talking about these playoffs right now. It's been a wild playoff for the RFL this season, man. What's your thoughts on the playoffs so far?
Man, just like you said, man, it has been wild. It's been crazy. It's been fun. And I'm not just saying that because I'm still in it. It's just been great games to watch, unexpected wins, close wins, just all around some really good football.
Yeah, that it has been. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and first recap, as always, as we start off our podcast, the games that passed just a week ago in the divisional round. We started off with a huge shock. The number one seeded Celtic Tigers, who finished the season with their best season ever in the RFL, 15-1, gets eliminated in the first round that they play by the Chicago Cougars. Now, they played the Chicago Cougars before. They were able to defeat them by 17, but the Cougars get their revenge, as they've been doing pretty much throughout this entire season, as they are able to beat the Celtic Tigers by the same margin, 46-19.
Yeah, this game was crazy. I've been rooting for the Cougars since the very first weeks of the season, and it's been amazing to see them on their journey of getting to where they were when they were like 3-3 to now being in the conference championship game and taking out the Celtic Tigers. Nobody saw that coming. Not many people did, at least. And this game showed that they have a full team ready to take on any opponent, and they, for the most part, were in control of this game the whole time. There was a little bit of a up-in-the-air moment at the end, or maybe it was the middle of the pack, like the third quarter, when there's those two blocked punts happened or something like that. It looked a little edgy, but they rebounded well, closed the game out, and they go to the championship for the second year in a row.
Yeah, this game started out pretty much all in favor of the Celtic Tigers. First, an injury to the Cougars kicker. They missed a couple of kicks because their punter a lot had to try to kick long field goals, couldn't make either of those. And the Celtic Tigers found themselves up 13-0. And what happened, I think the turning point of this entire game was the Cougars defensive back, their rookie, Philly Jones, coming up with a huge interception. Didn't get the pick six, but the very next play, a touchdown, was able to get them in the game. And it was all just like that, a 13-7 ball game. Before you know it, it was 21 unanswered points for the Cougars. I believe it got as much up to 28 unanswered points, and just a lot of huge plays. A big clutch player, I think, that deserved the game ball definitely was London Lions for the Chicago Cougars, because even though he only had 5 catches for 78 yards, he had 2 big touchdowns in that game, and he had some incredible catches. I believe every one of those catches that he had were just big-time catches that kept them in the game and just completely deflated the Celtic Tigers' momentum, and they were able to just carry that on all the way until the end of the game. And we the only team we've saw to fluster the Celtic Tigers like that this season were the Sentinels and a little bit the Red Dragons, and now the Cougars going to be taking on the Red Dragons, which we'll get to. And man, just an all-around great game. The Cougars really looking like a scary team here in the playoffs. As for Drake Crowell, we'll talk more about him, the Celtic Tigers, but unfortunate. Once again, loss in the playoffs, 4th appearance, still no championship. Drake Crowell is just continuing to get older and older, and I know it's got to be tough to be eliminated like this the first game, especially after only losing 1 game during the season. And as for the Chicago Cougars, this is the second year in a row that they have eliminated the top-ranked AFC team in the divisional round. So this is a team that has really been fighting to try to get to that championship push. This could very well be their year. We'll talk more about that. But a big win right there for Coach Roby and those Cougars. Following this game, we had the Lancers taking on the Thunderbirds. And to be honest, we figured, coming into this game, the Thunderbirds may be in for something here. It's going to be tough for them to win, but honestly, they won a little bit with ease, I can say here. 23-0, the first ever shutout in RFL history in the playoffs, and the Thunderbirds get it done without LC3. Cade Tosher, he played okay, but he did what he had to do to keep the offense moving. And, of course, Clifton General carrying that team above and beyond. And the Thunderbirds get it done. They advance to the NFC Championship game for the 4th straight time.
Yeah, this game was... I didn't see this coming. I mean, yes, they don't have LC3. They don't have their top quarterback right now. But to be able to come out and just perform the way they did with a complete shutout of the Lancers, considering, yes, the Lancers had a rough patch for a while there, but they've been a very strong team this year. And to see them just get wiped out like this was... It's a testament to the Thunderbirds' defense, really, is what it is. And you guys know I love defense. And this shows exactly why I love defense. They shut down everything the Lancers tried to do offensively. Nato Quinn's back. It didn't matter. 14 carries, 15 yards, not happening against the Thunderbirds. And it gave Tauscher enough time and enough good field position to really put the team in a good spot to get enough points to, well, I guess they only needed 3, but they got 23.
Thunderbirds, I believe, in this game, just only scored 1 defensive touchdown, but still, I mean, 1 defensive touchdown, that's a huge help. The offense, like you said, was given enough time for Cade Tauscher to catch a rhythm. His first pass, I can remember, was a little bit, crazy. We thought it was going to be a bad game for Tauscher, but Tauscher kind of shocked us, the 31-year-old, with his scrambling ability, made a lot of huge plays, a lot of rushing yards on the ground. And as for the Lancers, very shocked that in 03, I mean, I know this is the Thunderbirds defense, but to have 15 yards off of 14 carries, no one, I believe, was expecting that. I'm pretty sure that everyone believed the Thunderbirds were going to key in heavy on shutting him down because of his 177-yard performance that he had back in just a week ago against the Steamers. But that just got all the way shut down. The Lancers just couldn't find themselves doing anything. The pass game was completely shut down. 28-41 was Trey Mason, 169 yards. No touchdowns, an interception. Trey McClellan, was their best receiver. He's had some big moments. But, I mean, this Thunderbirds team just showing, as long as Tauscher can keep the offense balanced and keep them moving, this team can still dominate. This defense literally shut down a pretty good high-powered offense in the Lancers. And like you said, no one was expecting this win here as the Thunderbirds, advance to the NFC Championship game, like I said, once again, for the 4th straight season. And another statistic about this, the Thunderbirds have never missed an NFC Championship game. And that says a lot about this team, and it says a lot about how they handled business just a week ago there in Toronto. Moving on to the next game. This was, I say, the second best game of the week. I really like the way in terms of entertainment and competitiveness, I would say that this was the best game of the divisional game round here. We didn't really expect the Red Dragons to come out to as much of a pretty good offensive hot start with Anthony Savoy. Just seems to get better and better the more he keeps playing. And then on the other hand, Matt Jones came out, had a couple of turnovers, but after that, he just played like he's been there before. Was very comfortable, despite all the pressure the Red Dragons were sending to him. And I mean, this was just an excellent game between 2 young quarterbacks. The Red Dragons, though, getting it done, still undefeated in the postseason as they take down the Dreadnots 30-24.
I got to say, man, I came away, even though they were on the wrong end of this game, I think I can put the Matt Jones question marks to bed. I was really impressed with him, considering who he played. It was the playoffs. Red Dragons are no joke. Defense is no joke. And the playoffs are always a whole different atmosphere. And he came out, and you said he had a pick. A couple of things didn't go their way, but he didn't seem to falter as much as you would assume a young quarterback like that would. So I think they've got their guy, the Dreadnots, with Matt Jones. It showed it in the stats. As for the Red Dragons, this team is going to go as far as they want to go. They are such a tough unit. It's going to be It's going to be very difficult for a team to knock them off. And this shows between their defense, the defensive prowl they have, matched with the offensive rushing ability of not only their running back and CJ Bobo, but Anthony Savoy. It's just tough for any team to really go against, and I can't wait till next week to see what happens.
And the Red Dragons, I mean, in my opinion, and Coach said it himself at the interview at the end of the game, this was, I feel, the best offensive performance that the Red Dragons had. I believe they went 3 straight scores offensively. It was 21 points that the Dreadnots defense gave up. They just could not stop. Anthony Savoy did a great job scrambling and throwing the football. He had 2 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. As you can see his stats right there, 21 of 29. That's a great stat line for Anthony Savoy. 215 yards, had the 1 interception. The run game was just working on all cylinders. Roberto Ninadino ended up leading all the running backs on the San Diego Red Dragons team with 20 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. But it did come at a cost. And the reason why he was able to lead the team is because CJ Bobo, who unfortunately we had news of, has been injured and is now out for the rest of the playoffs. And so, I mean, that's a tough loss for the Red Dragons. A big reason on why they were one of the most dominant and scariest offenses when it came to running the ball. And now, I mean, to be honest, though, Fender does a great job. Nadino does a great job. But to be without, Bobo, you never know how that can affect him coming in this upcoming week against the Cougars. But the Deontay Compton had some pretty good catches. I mean, it wasn't a lot of big things going on when it came to passing, but just Anthony Savoy once again stole the show. And like you said, those question marks about Matt Jones, I believe, now has to be put to rest. I mean, literally, the only bad things that I've seen him do in that game was the 2 turnovers. And even before he committed those 2 turnovers, he was moving down the field with ease against one of the best defenses in the league. And so, I mean, that says a lot. And it also says a lot about Cam Jones. I mean, this is a ridiculous receiver. Didn't have 1,000 yards this season, had 1,400 plus last season as a rookie. But he was way less involved this season, and still with only 4 catches in this game. The kid had 4 receptions for 151 yards and a touchdown. He's just a remarkable receiver, comparing him to the Calvin Johnson of the NFL to now here in the RFL. I mean, this guy's just incredible. Only second year, but still great game by both of these teams. And just nothing really else to say there. Great job on both ends of the coaches, and just can't wait to see what the Red Dragons do next week.
Yeah, just to add to that about Cam Jones and Matt Jones, the more they get Cam Jones involved is going to determine how good Matt Jones gets, because that is a kind of safety blanket that any young quarterback could just dream of having. And if they can find ways to get Cam Jones to force feed him the ball, if you watch the NFL in the 90s and the late 90s, which I know a lot of you probably haven't, there was a little rumor that the Randy Moss contract with the Vikings, he had to be targeted 7 out of every 10 plays. Do that with Cam Jones for Matt Jones, and I think the Dreadnots will be right back here next year, no problem.
Yeah, and I mean, that's still a difficult task to even think about doing over there for San Antonio, due to the fact that their run game is so good too. That just goes to show you how great this offense honestly is. They were always only missing that quarterback piece, and now they've got a young guy, literally 22 years old. He'll be 23 after this season, heading into season 6. I mean, this is now an offense, they get him developed, they get that awareness up, they get him, passing the ball, being more comfortable. He can be the next big LC3 of this league, next to Bree Jackson. I really do feel and see that much of a future for this kid there in San Antonio, man. I think he's going to get it done there. Javonte Gilliam, he is getting up there. He's getting a little bit old, but they got Kirby Britt, who they signed, and, just a lot of playmakers. And so, I mean, congratulations to Coach Frankie J on a great season. Unfortunately, it didn't end up going the way he wanted, but still a great game, and they went out valiantly. Great win also for Coach Davis and those Red Dragons. And the final game of the divisional round was your game, Bill. The Explorers defeating the Marshals. I mean, I know this had to feel really good due to the fact that the Marshals have always pretty much had you guys' numbers, but you guys end up pulling it out. It was a very close game. Final score 27-13.
Yeah, it was a great game to be able to pull out. For the most part, the Marshals, I wouldn't say they've always had our number, but maybe they just really been a thorn in the side quite a bit. Because I know last year, in my first year as a coach, we split with them, I believe, in wins and losses for our division matchups. But they ended up edging us out for the division. And, here we are again, divisional round, and we got to play the Marshals. And it was a game that I expected it to be. The defense was the story for both sides. Even though the score was, a 2-score difference, that was really inflated at the end. And it was a really hard-fought game, and I'm really happy to have the team that I have because, one wrong thing in that one, and that goes either way. The Marshals are a tough opponent, and they have a great team there and a great coach. And, yeah, it was a great feeling to get that win, move on to the championship. And, we know who I play again. Now I get to go to the next thorn in my side with the Thunderbirds. But, yeah, great game, and was super happy with how it turned out. Offense has to get a little bit more consistent, but I do realize that was a lot to do with the Marshals defense because they have such a stout defense. But we're going to work on seeing if we can get some more things working this week in our favor for the upcoming matchup.
Yeah, that was defensive all the way there. And, of course, the Marshals were very handicapped when it came to running the football. At times they did have some success. It wasn't too bad, but it was a lot more that the defenses came up and made a lot more big plays than the offense did. 55 passes for Tyler Agamonte, and he still completed 33 of those. So, I mean, he actually did a pretty decent job. Just, once again, the defenses on both sides were just too good. And C.J. Robinson was literally held to 2 catches for, 20 yards? I mean, that's a big statement right there. And your best receiver, Courtney Mitchell, 4 receptions for 52 yards. Bradley Atagwe really stole the show with a touchdown, which pretty much, in my opinion, once he got that, sealed the game.
Yeah.
And Bradley Atagwe, I know you were excited to know that he's back in the lineup. And, I didn't have this as a topic, but I guess we'll add this in here. But, seeing as your team is one of the most healthiest right now going into the conference championship game, man, how are you feeling about knowing that your team has that advantage right now? And what are you feeling heading into that game with the Thunderbirds?
Well, I think we're thankful to be as healthy as we are. It sucks that Darius is on the sideline, Darius Young, our running back, but to be as healthy as we are, considering some of the injuries to the other teams, we can't complain. We have a role player at best and backup not playing, and other guys are missing starters, starting quarterbacks, starting tight ends, starting receivers. So it's great that we're going in this healthy. I hope it's not me and my jinxes. I hope it's not a jinx that we're the healthiest team and it doesn't bite us in the butt and we have 4 injuries on over the weekend. But I think that it's going to help us. Of course, we have every explosive player on our team available to us that we could. We don't have any kind of major setback that we have to overcome or adjust things in any major way, and it's going to help big time, I think, considering going to Toronto is tough enough whenever you go, whether it's the playoffs, preseason, regular season. Now you see what they are going through with LC3 being out. I believe Tate Phillips is out. I mean, honestly, we're going to we need to go to the Reload Bowl. We need all the help we can get, and if that means that it's because we're healthier, I'll take that. I'll take that as a W throughout the season, that we were able to maintain our health, and hopefully we can pull it out.
Well, this is the farthest that the Columbus Explorers has ever gone, and I don't know if you paid attention to the. We'll talk about that. I guess we'll pull up the playoff bracket right now, getting a look at these upcoming conference championship games. But I guess once again, feeding into the part that I was bringing up, this is the furthest you guys have ever went in terms of going to the playoffs. And, this time last year, once again, if you were paying attention to the Instagram, literally on this day was the day that the Toronto Thunderbirds defeated you guys to advance to the NFC Championship game.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I posted that up on the Instagram story. And, that's just crazy that it fell on this day. And now you guys are facing each other in the divisional round. These two games are these are going to be really big storyline based games. Once again, on the left hand side, you see the Cougars taking on the Red Dragons, 2 old friends that used to play on PlayStation way back, in leagues together, now here in the league together, facing each other for a shot to go to the championship game. Also, even more on the top of that, the Cougars, every team that they have played twice, they have beaten the second time. That is a huge statement right there. And as for the Red Dragons, they have not lost a single playoff game in franchise history. So there's so much storylines based off of there. Once again, on your side, even more storylines to go based off of. Once again, like we said, lost today, a year ago to them. You've had a rivalry between you guys. You guys have been now relocated into the same division. Not only is this a divisional game for the NFC Championship game, this is the only team that has beaten you this season. And who would have even thought a 14-2 team wouldn't even be a divisional leader? And it's because of these guys. They're now without their starting quarterback. It's the best time to actually beat them. Not saying it's going to be an easy task, which is why it's so much of a big storyline, because we still don't know if you guys could be able to notch it out without LC3 involved. So, I mean, there's just so many storylines based on behind these teams. And so with that being said, we know what the matchups are. I want to ask you, in these two matchups, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I always pick my own team. I've never not picked my own team. But I will give a little bit of background with the Thunderbirds as to why they have a good chance of winning, but I still believe I'm going to win. The Thunderbirds are so good on defense that they can have a mediocre offense. You saw it last week. Tauscher wasn't a savior. Tauscher wasn't a miracle worker. He didn't do much more than any other backup would be expected to do stepping into a role after an injury. But the rest of the team is so talented that it didn't even matter. And that's what makes the Thunderbirds so good and so great. And even though they are without their starting quarterback and their starting tight end, that you can't count them out of this game. And it's going to be a tough matchup, but I'm going to have to go with myself at the end of the day. I feel that with our health and also the fact that we sort of like with Rob and the Cougars, we want some revenge. We've taken enough of these L's from these guys. We need some W's in our way. So I think this is our week to do it. And I mean, it sucks that we have to do it when the team's not at full power, but it is what it is, So I expect us to win that one. And as for the AFC matchup, this is, like you said, there's so many storylines with this. Even outside of just the teams, the coaches. Some of you guys might not know. Coach Davis and Coach Roby go way back. Way back before the RFL. Before PlayStation 3, I think. Like, they have known each other for years. This is a huge matchup for one of the biggest games that they could possibly play against each other. And they have two of the best teams, two of the most well-rounded teams, and it is going to be a fight. I predict a very close game. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of scoring. I'd say no more than 20 points per team because these guys have really good defenses. But because of the way Rob has handled, Coach Roby has handled every team that he's faced and lost to, I got to keep going with him. I love Coach Davis. I love the Red Dragons, but, he called it. He lost to all of these teams he played in the playoffs. And what did he tell us? I'm going to beat him if I play him again. And so far, he's done exactly that. So I am not going to go against him yet. I think he'll pull it out, and I think I'll be seeing him in 2 weeks in the Reload Bowl.
Yeah, well, I love the breakdown right there. Starting out with Rob game, you already pretty much, we've already recapped just how big both of these games are. The Cougars and Red Dragons are a huge game right now. And, I betted against the Cougars last week. Once again, I still knew there was a chance that the Cougars could defeat the Celtic Tigers, but I did not know that they were going to win in that fashion, especially the way that they did by going down early and still finding a will to come back. This is a team that has just been refusing to be eliminated, refusing to go down, refusing the season to end. And with a mentality like that coming into this game, with all that momentum coming into this game, Red Dragons are going to have the home field advantage. And, I really pulled for the Red Dragons that I thought was going to win this game before the Cougars played that game against the Celtic Tigers. But now coming into this game, just like you said, I feel like I would be a fool to vote against the Cougars not winning this game. And so I guess with that being said, that's pretty much like the Cougars really right now, they have their respect card for guys who have not been. We've already, for the most part, we've respected the Cougars. The issue has been, the community not feeling that this team, they're a good team, but not feeling that they're ready for the big stage, and even if they were to lose this game, they've still, for the second consecutive year in a row, shown that they are a team that can compete with the best. They've took out the best 2 years back to back. They beat the Bulls when they were 12-3-1, and they literally a week ago just beat a 15-1 Celtic Tigers team that just seemed virtually unstoppable. And now they go up against the Red Dragons, who I'm still not going to say that it's going to be an easy task at all, by any means.
Oh, of course
the
not.
Red Dragons, very well, and honestly, in my opinion, this is 50-50 on who can win this game. But I just feel with that edge on the way that the Cougars have been playing, they have a mentality. They're going to play that way. I think the game is going to make them play that way, where they're going to fight to the end. And the Red Dragons are, unless they play lights out pretty much like they did against the Dreadnots, and their defense steps up a little bit better than they did a week ago against the Dreadnots, then I don't see them winning. So I got the Cougars winning that one. In terms of your game, this is another extremely hard pick. I mean, despite no LC3, the Thunderbirds are still a very good team because of their defense. Now, the difference, though, is this is why I say that offense is just as important as defense. Your defense is well beyond the defense of the Lancers of what they faced last week of the Lancers. And so I really feel that unless they have offensive production with Cade Tosher against your defense, they cannot win this game. And I don't feel that they will have the chance to win this game because their offense is not there. And I think that your offense will be able to perform more than the Thunderbirds will. And so thus forth, of course, getting more points. And I think you guys will win because of that reason. And so I think we're going to have a Cougars and Explorers championship game. And also put it out in the polls to see who people thought overall would be, the Reload Bowl champions this year. And literally on YouTube, I'm about to start putting polls up on YouTube from now on because we got a ton of votes, 204 votes total. And the polls came out that the most predicted to win team out of these four to win the Reload Bowl is the Explorers by 37%. And behind that is the Thunderbirds at 29, Cougars 19, and Red Dragons 16. And so that's pretty much how the community have felt about about these two games coming in, on who they think is going to win it all. A lot of people have already voted. It's pretty much been a whole lot. We still don't know who's going to make it to the Reload Bowl itself, but a lot of people once again has voted and predict that the Explorers may be that team to get it done this year. And it's 50-50. Either we're going to see a new champion that's never won it before, or a team is going to make history in the RFL and win it for the second time in franchise history between the Red Dragons and the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty impressive. And, we talked a little bit before about the Cougars, and, sometimes it seems as if the community doesn't, not that they don't respect the Cougars, but maybe they don't understand why somebody like me or you talk so highly about them. And if anybody goes back and looks at the season that they just had, part of the reason that they weren't considered a powerhouse for a few weeks is their schedule was ridiculous. And I think that's a really overlooked situation with why they had to sneak in at the last couple of weeks to get a wild card spot. But I mean, I'm just going through this list right now, and it's crazy. Riverhogs, Voyagers, Red Dragons, Celtic Tigers, Bulls, Aviators, Conquistadors, Pioneers, Aviators, Huskies, Bulls, and Huskies. Like, almost every single one of those teams are playoff teams. It's crazy to that they got that overlooked. And I see some in the comments, saying that maybe they weren't there yet. They will be here next year or whatever. But they were here the whole time. It's just they had a lot of games that were very tough, and it didn't play out very well for every time. But now that the playoffs are here, the ones that count the most, the Cougars are getting the best of.
Yeah, and as for the Cougars, I mean, they're always going to pretty much get that flack because of the division they are in. So, I mean, that's just something that, I'm pretty sure Rob has already owned up to is going to be pretty much the identity of this team until they can prove consistently year to year that they are the front runners. And I'm pretty sure with the way he coaches and the way he game plans for everything, that's exactly what he's prepared for. I mean, being in the same division as the Huskies, a team that's won a championship just a season ago, and the Bulls, a team that has been a top AFC team for the past 2 to 3 years, that's a tough division to win. And although he has bested them this year, it's not going to be easy to do that next year. So it's easy to see why the Cougars did not get their, due diligence in terms of how great of a team they are. But once you get a good team like that, as we've seen before the coach, and then you get a great coach on top of that, that's what takes this team to the next level. And so this is definitely a team this year, I could say for sure. Of course, next year, I'm sure he's going to bring everything. But this year, this is a team that I don't think anybody wants to run into, especially in the championship game. But with that being said, we'll move on to our next topic. And our next topic is about the Celtic Tigers after taking their loss. First round that they play in, eliminated by the Cougars. And I mean, honestly, it looked like they had it in the bag, like I said, the first half, and everything broke down in the second, as the final score ended up being 46-29. But I mean, with that being said, Drake Crowell, has he missed his opportunity to win a championship in his career with the Celtic Tigers? What's your opinions on that?
I'm pretty close to saying yeah. But if there's a sliver of a chance, it has to be like it's next year is the final year. There is no other years after next year. Mm-hmm. And that's partly due to the fact that Drake Crowell is getting older and he's going to regress. He's not going to be the same guy. But it's also because the AFC is a very powerful conference. There's a lot of teams that are very solid right now, like the two teams playing, Red Dragons, Cougars. The teams that were playing before, the Bulls, the Dreadnots, the Sentinels, there's the Riverhogs, the Voyagers. There's a very powerful conference, and I think for a while, not saying that the AFC wasn't competitive, but I think because the Celtic Tigers were so much better than even the good teams in the AFC, that they sort of had not an easy road, but not as much of a challenged road. But now, as coaches are coming in and they're really building these teams up and these players are developing that maybe a couple years ago weren't that good, the level of competition is getting so close now. So where you can't just rely because you've made some crazy plays in the past. You need everything else to work. The defense needs to work, the pass rush, the coverage, the rushing game, the offensive line. I just think that everybody else is starting to catch up with them, and at the same time, Dre Corral is going to start going down. So I think if there's a chance, it has to be next year. But I don't see any of the teams that are already better than them, in my opinion, lessening or weakening next year. So I'm between the fence on, yes, the window's closed, and they might have one more year.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to agree with you on that one. Next year, if he doesn't win it, I don't even see him staying after next year. Of course, we already know, we've got the news. Drake Crowell, he's not going to be retiring. He's going to be coming back for sure next year. But, he might get the worst or he might get the best of it, because if the game retires him, for the only time I'll ever do this, I'm bringing him back with whatever he had once he retired. But if he chooses to stay within the game and he regresses, that's going to be his statistics heading into next year. So, depending on how that situation goes, if he regresses and he's coming back, it's going to be, of course, a less talented Dre. But in my opinion, the reason why I feel like the Celtic Tigers, in this scenario, Dre Crowell winning a championship, if he doesn't do it next year, I don't think he'll be able to get it done for the Celtic Tigers, because I do feel that he will retire. But even if he does retire, now in terms of CT winning a championship, I still feel like this team next year is going to still be, despite what you were saying about teams being, starting to catch up and be great on that level. Let's not forget, this is still a 15-1 team. They got a draft still coming up. They've got they've been a great team. It's not just Dre. Dre has made a lot of great big plays, but let's not forget about who he's got on his team. He's got Trey Worsley. He's got Matt Niani. He's got, Reggie Wilson might be gone, but still he's got great tight ends on that team. He's got great offensive linemen. That whole offense, regardless of if he regresses, is still going to be stacked. It all pretty much depends on his gameplay. And even if he does regress, I don't see him taking too hard of a hit where he's not going to be performing for the most part like he did this season. Now, the hard part, the part that I will say that will depend on if the Celtic Tigers are going to be able to win a chip by next year is the defense. Now, the defense honestly were not bad this year. They were actually first in points allowed this season. And I was surprised to know that because I actually said that in the game while they were playing the Cougars. And so that goes to show you this was a defense that bent a lot, didn't break a lot. But if they can learn not to bend at all and actually halt teams and get them off the field faster on top of how great their offense is, this is a team that can easily be right back where they were this season and go further. And so with that being said, I do not feel like he's missed his opportunity, but it does depend on what the rest of the team is going to be looking like in doing, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, just to sort of add to my comments about, the other teams getting better. The reason that I feel that, especially for a team like the Celtic Tigers, who have been at the top almost every single year and have not won it, is they get as far as they can, and, there really is no other way to say it. They fail every time. So now, when it comes to the offseason and the draft, they're stuck picking as far back as they possibly can without reaping any of the rewards from it. So all of these teams that are, 500 club, maybe a couple games more, maybe even below 500, they've been able to gather and sort of hoard these more premier players in the draft, while the Celtic Tigers have pretty much just, this is who the rest of the teams didn't want to draft. We have to draft them, and I think that's why, sometimes when a team gets there over and over but never actually finishes the job, they're actually more of a detriment to themselves, because while you never want to throw a season or have a bad season on purpose, all of the good new players are obviously at the front of the draft. And it's hard for a team that constantly goes division, conference round, maybe even the Reload Bowl and loses it, because now they're picking 25 to 30. They have no trophy to show for it, and they're still picking bottom of the barrel for players. So now I think that's where I came from with the comment about other teams getting better as they stay the same.
And I definitely agree with that, and that's why I still say and I feel that if they don't do it next year, it's going to be extremely tough. But I do feel like they will still be the same caliber team because the rest of the players on that team are still very talented. And even with the small amount of picks, honestly, looking at this team, they don't need many key players to fill up this team, So that's why I feel they're still going to be a really good team next year. But, they have to make sure they get the right guys, got to make sure they get the right, just the right play at the right moments, especially in the postseason. A lot of people talking about the Celtic Tigers just being a team great in the regular season, but the postseason comes up and they're choking. Even their track record. First season they go to the Reload Bowl, lose it, bad. Second season they go to the AFC Championship game, loses to the Red Dragons. Red Dragons go on to win the championship. Third season they get eliminated in the divisional round to the Black Knights. Fourth season they don't even make the postseason, and then they had the best season in franchise history. Stats all over the place. I mean, these guys were unstoppable until they played their first playoff game. And so, I mean, with all that being said, like I said, still comes down to just having that one small window. If they don't win it there, they need guys to step up in the postseason. If they make it to the postseason, because now that AFC East division, like you said, is going to be a little bit tough. You still got the Sentinels, who defeated the Celtic Tigers and gave them their only loss in the regular season. They're still going to be there. They're going to be a tough team with Coach Armstrong. They got the Black Knights. You never know what you're going to get out of them. I think they might still need some serious pieces to rebuild a little bit there, but still they could be a contender. You never know. And, of course, the team that finished last, but they got a great coach in Jacob Reed, the Bulldogs could be a team that could compete also. So it's not an easy division, and to go 15-1 in this division, says a lot, but, it's going to be tough to do it again next year. But once again, just to close out this topic, Dre Crowell, next year is the year. He's got to try to establish the GOAT. He's already the GOAT, but to be the official GOAT, to lay it down, hands down, nobody's better than this guy. No matter who comes afterwards, he's got to win a championship. And if he doesn't do that, then there's always room for somebody to be better.
He's like the stand-in GOAT. Like, well, we ain't got nobody else right now, so he's going to stay there for now.
Moving on to the next topic, we have the pretty much the playoffs. Pretty much a quick question. Which two teams would you like to see most play in the Reload Bowl? Now, once again, like I said, it's either somebody's going to make history by winning 2, that's between the Thunderbirds and the Red Dragons, or somebody's going to win their first Reload Bowl. But which team out of the 4 would you like to see in the Reload Bowl? And I guess we can leave a couple of this up to the community as well. I'm pretty sure, of course, you're going to go with
if
you.
If it's just me, like, you just want to know which AFC team I want to see? I want to see the Cougars make it. I think if I can make it and Rob can make it, that'd be pretty sweet to be able to play each other.
Mm-hmm. At least we know we'll get a new champion, but if that doesn't happen, now we got a history. So either way, it's good. It doesn't matter who goes to the championship. It doesn't matter who wins it. At the end of the day, history is going to be made in some type of way. And so I guess I'll leave it right here just to look at the chat, see people talking about Cougars, Explorers, Cougars, Thunderbirds, Cougars, Explorers. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much what we got. Red Dragons and Thunderbirds. Now that would be even lit too, man. If those two end up going to the Reload Bowl, that would be crazy. It doesn't matter who goes there, man. It's just going to be an amazing game. Any part.
And then that you can even say that too. Like, yeah, of course I want to see my team go, but if I don't go, I don't think there's going to be any less of a good Reload Bowl with the Thunderbirds going. Like, no matter which one of these 4 teams ends up making it and winning, I don't think there is any slight for any of the teams. You know what I mean? That to me shows how great these playoffs have been, because it's a good story and it makes sense if the Red Dragons win. Same with the Cougars, same with the Thunderbirds, same with me and the Explorers. No matter who wins it, it's deserved, and it's just 4 powerhouse teams just going at it. It's great.
Yeah. And so pretty much that just finishes that topic. And the second to last topic that we have here is about the Cougars. The Cougars were able to upset the Celtic Tigers a week ago. Now the big question is, if they can defeat the Red Dragons this week, do you think that the Cougars are going to go win it all?
No. No offense, Rob, but I expect to be in the game, and I expect to win the game. So, yeah. But if I don't go, then yeah. Okay. That's really all I got on that one, man. Because, in my mind, I don't want nobody to win except me. And I think every other coach that's in this position understands exactly what I'm saying. But, hey, if they do it, I'll be happy for Rob and the Cougars.
Nice. Okay, so in my opinion, I think if they do beat the Red Dragons, I do feel like the Cougars are going to be the ones to win it all, man. And I know you're gonna be upset about this. I feel like they'd win if you guys end up going.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's honestly my opinion. I mean, it's just with all that momentum and you defeat a grade A defense like that, I don't see how any team can stop these guys. I mean, this is the ultimate revenge team. You just ended the streak. These guys are, if they beat the Red Dragons, they're Brock Lesnar to the Undertaker right now. That says a lot. And so, I mean, the Cougars are just, a scary team right now. If they beat those Red Dragons, I think they win it all. And so, with that being said, I will now have to ask the coaches of the College Series Bowl. So I have to check and make sure that they are here, because I asked them to see if they would be there. So Coach Rummel and Coach Baker, if you are here, we will do your College Series Bowl draft now, live here in front of everybody. But let's make sure that they are here. I didn't get to reach out to them before the game because I was still working on graphics. So, hopefully they are here. So let's see.
Yeah, so Coach Baker and Coach Rummel, are you in the building?
Yeah. And if they aren't here and they can't do it at the moment, then what we'll do, we'll just take open questions, and then we'll move it to tomorrow just for some content. So we'll have it Thursday. But
yeah, so if you guys are here and available, if you guys want to get on your PlayStations, where there's a party chat where you can join us live on with these wonderful people in our live chat.
And not only that, I mean, I want to make it known too that this isn't going to be some awesome graphics that you're going to get here while they're drafting these guys. Okay, so this is pretty much, I'm going to be showing up the draft class, and the coaches are going to be selecting who they want on their team. And once they do that, while they're doing that, Bill is going to be typing their name down, so we know who the teams are going to be, and we'll get working on building those teams and getting ready for that to get to go on. But I see we only got Rummel right now.
Real quick, while we wait for that, I've been seeing this question all stream long. LOB Roses, sorry for not getting back to you earlier, but we only answer questions at the end. But there is a video that we just posted, what was that, like a month or so ago, with the updated sliders, Smitty?
Yes.
That's the latest sliders that we use, all the settings that we use for every single game in the RFL.
All right, so here goes Baker. So pretty much, let's do this. Let's actually do this through, because I think it'll be time consuming if I try to get him on here, since Baker says he can't get on his PlayStation right now.
You talking about doing through the league office?
So I'll probably have to do, because I can't do league office with commentary, because I don't have it's not through my PC. My PC's not set up. So with that being said, what I'll do is I'll probably show the game, and they'll have to, based off of what they see, they'll pick it and make their selection live in the YouTube chat. So we'll do it that way. And this could be a little bit of a lengthy process, but I'd rather do it live in front of everybody and just go from there, man. So everybody knows what's coming up for this upcoming Pro Bowl and College Series Bowl week. And I made sure. Let me see. Yeah, I made sure that I went to a team that's got everybody, all the draft players, but there's no scouting, so nothing will get revealed here. So let's go ahead and first get
check the chat. Rob just said something.
What did Chad say? What did he say?
He said something about he could restart the stream and he could jump on so that we could have the coaches on through the Discord.
Okay. Well, let's do that then. We'll jump on to that. So
all right. So that's case,
Rob's
here,
hype. He got all caps on.
Yeah. So hey, everybody here, we'll go down for a couple minutes and then we'll restart the stream through the Discord. Same thing that we're doing now, just so that we can have the coaches join and make this a little bit more better experience for the drafting.
Yeah. So y'all still don't technically have to get on y'all PlayStation, coaches. Y'all just can see through the stream as Rob has it up. So you guys can select y'all's players that way. And that'll be better. So that way everyone can hear your voices, hear your selections. And I think it'll be a better experience. And so with that, we're going to close this out. We're going to get together in the Discord. And we'll be live in a few to bring up the live College Series Bowl draft. So we'll see you guys then.